Resume recording. Okay, here we go. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Thursdays in the Workshop. I'm Kate Hoof, and it's nice to see a lot of familiar faces here. Today, we're going to cover the Gradebook in Brightspace, and this is an encore presentation, but I think the last time we presented this session was back in April, maybe, and I've learned quite a bit since then. And Rich, who is helping me today, he's monitoring the chat. He's learned quite a bit, and so hopefully we'll be able to answer your questions more fully than we were able to do about a month or so ago. So bring it on with the questions. We're ready. Today, we have a few announcements first, and then we're going to go through setting up your gradebook. And there's a great tool in Brightspace called Grade Wizard. And so we're going to take you through that. And then I'm going to talk to you about subscription training and then just some upcoming training. And then any questions. And please post your questions in the chat or just stop me at any time, or Rich will stop me if, he feels more comfortable stopping me than maybe you will. So just stop me at any time and I will answer your questions. We do have a couple of announcements in terms of new things to add to the communications about Brightspace and where to find training, and as well as training videos themselves. We have things in the Brightspace team where we will continue to message when we send emails, and we also post in the team. Or if you have questions about Brightspace, the Brightspace team is still the best place to go and just to type in your questions there. Also the CTL implementation page, the Brightspace, and we've changed that a little bit, and I'll just hop over to that. And so can you still see my screen? I never know if I'm showing my window or my screen. Can you see the website?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So on there, and this is good for you to know, there's Brightspace for students as well as Brightspace for instructors. And if you go into the one, you can certainly direct your students to go here. And there's some information about Brightspace as well as a link to get into Brightspace. We'll post a link to videos, to tutorial videos specifically to students. If you go here into the one for instructors, we just sort of revamped it, and then you can log into Brightspace here for right now. You can certainly type in the URL. These are some tips that we put in that we thought were kind of cool features that Christy developed with tutorials. And then a little bit about our training as well, which is a little bit more in depth that you can go to. Just because we have Brightspace, the subscription training is free to everybody. Shepherd, and then this is in our training videos on YouTube. To Rich's disappointment, I guess, the Sakai Guy channel being retired. CTL develops around Brightspace or around the art. We will post it here to YouTube. And so to CTL website with that YouTube link down at the bottom, and students playlist coming up. This is just sort of promo, and then a Brightspace for faculty playlist, and you can look at those here as opposed to just going to random. Okay. And I know, Rich, no more Sakai Guy. I know. So, all right.
Can you have a new name, Rich? You're going to be called something else.
Just Rich for now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry, my internet seems to be freezing, so I hope it'll be okay. Yeah, the tech guru. I think that could be a good one. So, or just Rich. He's going minimalist, right?
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Let me go ahead and move some things around on my screen. Okay. There we go. Oops. Technical difficulties. Please stand by. Okay, so you know about our YouTube channel and then the Brightspace team. I did want to put a note out there as we get ready for summer and we're thinking about our fall classes. And I do, along with Rich, conduct training. And as we move further and further on into the year, Rich is the instructional technologist and all things tech, and I'm just helping them out as we transition into Brightspace. And so eventually, you know, I'll go back into my corner and into my lane when everyone becomes experts in Brightspace use and we don't have to have as much training on Brightspace. But please know that as an instructional designer for Shepherd, that very large part of my job is consulting in terms of when you're building your course, your online course for any modality, whether it's just, hey, you know, I need some ideas to include student engagement, or how can I do this, or, you know, depending on what your goals are for your online course in any modality. I can help you with a partial build. We can work together and meet on a weekly basis and do a partial build for your course, which means I can just provide consulting, ongoing consulting, and you have the keys to Brightspace and you build it inside Brightspace, or we can work closely and you give me all of your stuff, right? And I can build it for you in Brightspace. But this final one is a really big deal, and it takes it's over the course of several months where that will happen. And so I recommend that actually, if you're interested in that type of thing, that full course build, you know, we start thinking about spring of 2022 at this point. You know, so I'm just so you know, and if you're interested in those, there's some paperwork around that, but to start the ball rolling, just send me an email if you want to find out more information. Okay. So just as a review, and I know that I have several experienced people here, but share it with your friends. We have pioneers, and there's some pioneers on this call, meaning that you are using Brightspace for summer B session, and you're letting everyone know the good, the bad, the ugly, and any problems that you encounter. You are our pioneers, i.e. guinea pigs, whatever it is, but doing great helping the campus community and figuring out this Brightspace thing, and saving others time for when it comes in the fall. We strongly encourage that everyone adopts Brightspace for fall of 2021, and that by December 31st, Sakai is gone, and Rich will be sad. We'll have to have some type of memorial for Sakai, I think. Right, Rich? Yeah.
Sakai's going in December, but are we still going to have Sakai to look at and pull documents off of for our spring courses?
Not for your spring courses. So we were recommending that by mid-fall, October 31st-ish, just archive all of your stuff, download it, get it out of Sakai. Because this December 31st date, Cindy, it's gone. No more access to it.
So we are planning to migrate the fall of 2020 and also this past spring courses. It just takes time. So we're doing the fall ones first. And so later in the summer and the, you know, hopefully before fall, and see how that goes for the spring ones. But yeah, by the end of the year, you know, APIS is going to turn things off. So that's why we're going to migrate those two terms, but we also encourage everyone just to get their own data. You know, you can go to each site, you can move your resources. We're also going to have a training next week on how to migrate as well, get your data off, but also a way to incorporate it into Brightspace. But yeah, some people have been here a while, so they have lots of data in all their different sites. There's just no way we can download all the data ourselves from 10 years and so forth. But yeah, so we encourage y'all to jump in there and try to get the information that you have. Some of it you've used over and over, and it's just kind of repeating. So, you'll be surprised to find out how much data you actually need and how much you don't need. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where we are. Go
Rich,
ahead.
what's the date of that training that you're giving next week again? I'm sorry, I forgot.
So it'll be on Wednesday, and I was going to send an email out tomorrow about that.
Okay.
I think that's the 16th, or maybe it's the 15th.
Yeah.
Let me look at the calendar.
So keep an eye out for Rich's training for next week. He'll show you how to download your stuff from Sakai, as well as if you want to move it over into Brightspace. What we're finding out is that, it's assignments, quizzes, and discussion forums that migrate really well. Content inside lessons, they migrate, but they're all over the place and they're weird names, and the amount of tweaking that you may have to do, it may just be easier to just build a module with resources that are, on your computer. So yeah, Rich, did you find that date?
Yes, it's on Wednesday, the 16th.
Okay, perfect.
At 1 p.m.
I have a question about how you're migrating. Are you asking the instructors before? Okay, so in Brightspace, like I have a fall course sitting there right now, let's say. Are you asking the instructors before you just migrate all that over there into that course? Because say I may want to build my course in Brightspace and not have that stuff migrated.
Oh, that's correct. We're not putting things in new courses. We're migrating just old courses, making a copy from, for example, what you'll be able to do is to go into search 2020-30 into Brightspace, and you'll see your old course.
Oh,
We're migrating old courses. We're not, all your new courses, that's your sites. So you all have to kind of put what you want in there and so forth. Yeah. But we're putting in all the old information from the last fall. That way you can use it if you want to use it for the current fall, or however you want to do that. So.
Thank you. I was really confused because I didn't know to start building my fall stuff or wait till you're migrating something in there.
Oh, no, that's up to you. That's your course. So.
Okay, thanks.
No problem.
Okay. All right. So help us spread the word. Okay. Help us spread the word. Okay. So after this training session, you'll be able to set up your gradebook, attach assignments to a gradebook, and then we'll review some grading options and be able to manually grade. Okay. So let's go ahead and we're going to go into the demo. And I know that Cindy was in this, we had in-depth training on the gradebook yesterday, and I know that Cindy was in there and Rich was in there. So just jump in at any time if you want to add anything to what I'm saying in this. And I'm taking a slightly different approach than Crystal, but Crystal is our D2L trainer where she's training some people across campus. So we'll just get started with that. So I actually have some people in the sandbox, and the first thing I want to do is just to show you what the gradebook looks like and how to access it. And when I go to brightspace.shepherd.edu, I go to my course selector here up at the top, and I went to my sandbox, and that's just a quick review of how to find the classes that you are assigned to. And up at the top, everyone has the grades tool up at the top. And just as a reminder, there are other tools within your course. So if you go into course tools and course admin, you see all of the other kinds of tools that are not on your nav bar. And so you can get to grades here because it's on the nav bar and it's easy, but you can also find it under assessment and grades. But you can see there are all kinds of other tools, and there's just not enough real estate on the nav bar, but that's where they live. So I'm going to go to the grades tool. And when I open this up, I have some people in this who are enrolled in the sandbox, and you can see the list of names to the left. You can see final grades and some of the work that they've done. And in this case that they haven't done, I'm going to use my teacher voice on everyone. And, but you can also see up at the top, I have final grade here, and then I have quizzes in this category. And this week 3 pizza quiz was just some example that I showed in an earlier training, and I didn't assign it to a category. But we're going to set up the gradebook today and focus on setting up categories within the gradebook. And then I'll show you how to attach assignments to the categories that are within the gradebook. But you can see I have quizzes here, and then I have an assignments category. And these are all the kinds of assignments that I have underneath that category. And then I also have, let's see, as I keep scrolling over, a final grade category. I can also have a test category. And if you notice, because this is so wide, Brightspace provides a final calculated grade, not only in the last column, but they also provide it in the first column. So it appears on either end of that. And so in just looking at this, if I were to go in and grade, I can certainly, there are many options for you to go in to grade things. But one thing that you can do is when you're in the grades tool, FYI, and you see this built out gradebook, you can certainly go to enter grades, which is the view that I'm in, and it's this spreadsheet view here. And I can go in and I can go ahead and choose enter grades for this. Well, I won't go there, but let's say I want to enter grades for this quiz here. I can certainly enter grades. If it was, Brightspace will automatically grade objective kinds of quizzes, but let's say if this was a subjective based quiz, I can just go in and I can put the grades in one by one. If you do something where it's something like attendance, you can click this box here up at the top and you can set everyone's grade to that. And so I would just put, everyone gets a 10 out of 10, and then it will populate every student. And so you would just check that top box and do it in that way. So that can be easy for when you have to eyeball kinds of things, and maybe for attendance or something like that. Okay, so that's where you would go in and add grades. Let me go ahead and go back out. Whoops. I'll go ahead and hit cancel. I don't need to save that. Okay, so then I can also go in and look at just these individual grades for individual students, and I can certainly put in the grade here. So there are a variety of different ways that you can look at perhaps the whole class list when you're in your grade book, or go to each student and you can provide feedback and a specific grade, for example. And then we'll talk about the quick eval tool a little bit later, where you can grade things without even going into your grade book. Okay. Let's go ahead and set up a gradebook first. In order to have this view and to be able to even have something like this, and there's also a spreadsheet view, so you can watch it switch to standard view and spreadsheet view. We have to set up a gradebook first, and we do that by using the setup wizard. And this really takes you through 7 different steps that will help you set up your gradebook. Okay. Did someone have a question or want to say something? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and pop out, and I'm going to go into, let's see, I have a training course going on. So I will set up the gradebook here. I know I haven't set up a gradebook here, or maybe I have. So I will get out of that. So sorry. And let me go into Bright Ideas. I don't have anything in that. I'm going to go to my grades tool, and I want to just I need to set up categories. Okay. And so I know that I always have, I always have quizzes and tests. I have assignments, I have discussion boards, and maybe I have participation, something like that. So I click on Setup Wizard, and I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and we're basically going to go through 7 steps. And I'm going to click on Start. So it just automatically takes you through. And the first step is to choose a grading system. And typically we have 3 choices. And probably what I'm not getting into is the formula one, because I don't know how it works. So if you are an Excel master and you're a math person, you go for it and you want to just do your own formula. I can't help you with this, okay? But I can help you with weighted and points. And weighted and points, I'm sure you're very much familiar with. And weighted is just that. And you can see the example here where you may have 3, 4, or 5 categories within your class, and each of those weighted categories must equal 100%. So if you feel comfortable with that, that makes sense to you, and you use weighted grades, then you could certainly create 3 different categories and have them weighted to different percentages so that they all add up to 100%. Now, if you use a weighted scheme, that's great. You can still grade with points. So for example, in this one, the assignments category is worth 20% of the final grade. And this example shows that there are 2 assignments and each one is weighted 50% within that category because there are only 2, but ultimately it's only worth 20% of the final grade, right? So assignment 1 could certainly be worth 10 points and assignment 2 could certainly be worth 25 points, but they're still going to take up the amount of weight it says here, and ultimately it's only 20% of the final grade. And then the exam, you could have the exam be 250 points, but ultimately it's going to be 80% of the final grade. Okay. Points, they really do work the same way, but sort of like with points, you might think of papers as 100 points, quizzes as 20 points, little discussion board posts as 5 points. So you sort of weight things as you go, but you can certainly weight the categories by just using points. And so in short, you can use grade with points with either scheme here or with either system, but the weights that you apply to the categories, you can do percentages or you can do points. So for this one, it's just saying, hey, assignments category is worth 40 points total. Final exam item is 200 points. So the final grade is out of 240 points. Okay, so ultimately, it's just how you want to do it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go with weighted. That's where my comfort zone is. You might do something different, and we'll go ahead and hit continue. Step 207 talks about the final grade released. And do you want this first choice? Is if you have the first choice checked, it means the calculated final grade. So that number 74.4, that's what they get. It doesn't bump up. You can't adjust it for, they really tried and great effort. The calculated final grade is what is the math. There's no gray area. There's no up or down. There's no subjectivity in that. Adjusted final grade, you can go in and allows you to modify the grades before you release them. Okay. And so if you think that, that person is on the borderline of a B and a C, but that effort and that improvement was there, then I recommend that you do the adjusted final grade. If you want to keep it to no gray area, this is it, this is math, then you use calculated final grade. Those are the 2 main choices that you'll probably deal with. And then automatically release final grade says when enabled, the system automatically marks users' final grades as released once created. So you can still release the status of after, I can't remember what this is. So Cindy or Rich, do you all remember what was said about that one at the end or in the training yesterday?
I wonder, Kate, if that's where, like a professor is entering grades as the semester progresses, and the viewable final grade is always available for the student to see.
Okay.
So like there might be one journal that I collect and I go ahead and I grade all of those, and I'm putting in attendance in every week and maybe a quiz, and the student's going to see whatever at that day and time my grades are that I've entered, that's going to be what their current final grade is. I'm wondering if that's what it is.
It might be. And I know that we have some choices coming up, Emily, where we can make choices in what the students do see. So keep this one in mind in the back of your head when we get to that point, and then we'll compare, but I'll need to ask about that. I know in the tutorials that I've been watching, and it doesn't, this third thing is not standing out to any of us right now, but who were in the training yesterday, but in the training that I've been watching, they really focused on these two options.
You know what? I'm doing it right now with my my summer B class.
Oh, cool.
And I have this option is a featured option. So you have to select calculated or adjusted, but the automatic release seems to be a function. Look at the first two are circles and the bottom one is a square. So it's totally different. It's independent of the other two.
Yes, good. Thank you for pointing that out.
You're welcome.
Good
I'm
call,
very visual.
Emily.
So yeah, I think it's so that, you know, as those grades are being put in the system, that the student can just always see in real time versus waiting for the instructor to push it. And I know our students always want to know how they're doing. So as soon as I grade it, I don't want to tell them, oh yeah, this is how you're doing. I mean, go look at it.
Right.
Yeah, well, I remember there's a step 7 though, when we get to it, that what I'm used to in Sakai is that little button, you know, in the grade book where you click so the student always sees their grade at all times for the whole course. I don't think that's what this is. I think that is we're going to see in step 7. So Emily, do you think that is what that relates to in Sakai?
I don't know what it relates to in Sakai, but the way I interpret this is that when the instructor has the grades fully in, everybody's taken the assignment, that the grades are released without the instructor having to push them to be released.
Oh, that
like
makes
in
sense.
Sakai, you could set an assignment, like you could set the assignment so the grade is not released in Sakai. You know, like I wouldn't grade everybody's journal or wouldn't let the students see it until everybody took the quiz, for example. This way, if they take the quiz and it grades it for you, they're going to be able to see their grade without having to wait for you to release it, is how I'm interpreting it.
Unless you override that on the quiz itself.
With the assignment itself. Yeah, you may have that feature. I haven't built into any of those yet. Yeah, that's probably true.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. I understand that.
So when you decide calculated or adjusted, then go ahead and click continue. And again, there are some things to think about that we're going to get to in terms of what students see in front and around the final grade in dealing with, you know, how Brightspace will handle items that are not graded, right? What does it do with, does it drop the items where students haven't turned something in, or does it assign in a zero? So we'll get to those in a second. So that's also something I'm sure that you've had to consider with Sakai, but something that you definitely have to consider with Brightspace. So we're going to go ahead and go to continue. And step 3 is basically the grade calculations. And this is what I'm thinking of here. So drop ungraded items and treat ungraded items as a 0. So one inflates the grade and the second one deflates the grade, right? So until something is graded, which we know that you don't grade essays, you know, as soon as they're turned in, right? And so you really want to think about, you know, if you uncheck this one, auto update, automatically keep final grade updated, you can uncheck it to treat ungraded items as 0. Then students will see that, hey, if they don't turn this in, that it will be a 0, but at least that final grade is not updated to reflect that 0 just because it hasn't been graded yet. Does that make sense? So that this is a consideration, and whatever you do is, I mean, obviously completely up to you. Just make sure students are aware of that type of thing, because that's with a live grade book, that's the frustration, right? When you're grading things and you know, you're not at the speed of of light when you grade things. So, so just make sure that they're really aware of that. Choose a default grade scheme. We have percentages. This was set by, Shepherd. So that one's easy. Continue. This one is managing view display options. How many decimal points do you want to display? If you don't want to display the 2 decimal points, just put a 0 in. So again, that's just preference. So this is where we get to the student display options. And what is it do you want them to see? Okay. Do you want them to see, the points, the weighted grade, the grade scheme symbol? Do you want to have them see colors so that different colors reflect the grades that they have, number of decimal places? And then again, this is the display final calculation to users. Do you want them to be able to see their final grade at all times, or do you want to have control of that when you want to release the final grade? Cindy, was this the page that you were talking about?
That's the little box that I relate to Sakai.
Okay, this one right here.
Yeah.
Okay. And one of the things with this one of the training videos that I watched, they did recommend ask your students what they want to see, because maybe they don't want to see all of this. So you can certainly have feedback from your students to see, hey, do you want your grades in color? Do you want to see the scheme? Do you want to see the decimal points? So you can also garner some feedback from the students in your class. Okay. All right. So Rich, did you want to, are we still going to report grades to Rail, or will it be automated? Do we have an answer to that one?
Yes. Currently, we're still reporting everything into Rail. That is something D2L can do, but that's not something when we set everything up, that's not something we're going to do right now. Maybe something in the future, but definitely not in our implementation anytime soon. So definitely, you'll still have to go to Rail to import your grades.
That's good to know, because that makes, knowing that for me makes the distinction back on step 2, where we had to say calculate final grade or adjust final grade. So the way that I do this is I would click use calculated final grade in Brightspace, knowing that if I want to bump it up maybe a point and give them an A instead of a B, I'll do that in Rail, but I'm not doing it in Brightspace.
Good point,
If
Cindy.
you're going to move that stuff automatically, that's going to change how I click that button in Brightspace, because I won't use calculated final grade.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not a change we're making right now. So
Okay,
no
good.
worries about that.
Yeah, good point.
I don't see that changing anytime soon, but
Okay. Okay, so we hit continue, and then step 7 is just a summary of everything that you did. And just because you're setting up your gradebook now doesn't mean that you can't go back and change it. You can, and it will, adopt or adapt those points or those changes, and it will tell you if it can't do something. But I think everything that I've seen, it looks like it can do most things if you end up changing your mind on some things. So we go ahead and click finish. And so we basically have set up, the nuts and bolts, those 6 different content items within the gradebook. The most important part of this step is to really set up those grade categories, because I'm going to show you a workflow today that you might consider. And then we're going to get some feedback from Cindy on the workflow as well, from Cindy's point of view. Because Cindy and I disagree on things, but that's okay. But it's good to have multiple lessons, because there are all different kinds of workflows in Brightspace, and it's just a matter of what works for you as you're importing your content into Brightspace. So let's set up grade categories, and I do recommend them in terms of the weighting. So you would just hit create grade categories.
Okay.
Someone have a question? Are we good? Okay. All right. So as you can see, we're a new category, and typically one of the categories that we have is we have assignments. I don't know why I'm all in all caps. I'm not yelling at you guys. All right. So assignments, you can have a short name here. You can certainly add a description if you would like, at classwork, homework, whatever, for you and the, you know, you can add a description if you want. And then it's up to you whether or not you want the users to view the description. I would imagine that would be, you know, there are different purposes for the description. So that one's up to you, but that's a box that you can check. This is where you put the weight in. So let's go ahead and make this 30% just randomly. So you have some choices here in terms of how the weights, how the points within the category is distributed, right? And so manually assign weight to items in the category, distribute weights by points across all items in the category. So that just means that that's the one that you want, I believe. And I'm sorry, distribute weight evenly across all items. And you can say number of highest non-bonus items to drop or number of lowest non-bonus items to drop. So you can drop items here or not. And I'm sorry, I'm having a brain fog with these choices right here. Rich, are you able to jump in and help me out with this choice?
Sure. I actually did some testing with this.
Oh, good.
It's good
Okay.
that you did you do have to check distribute weight evenly across all items.
Okay, and that's
Or
what I
kinda
thought
makes
it
things
was.
a little wacky if you don't.
Okay,
And basically the number of highest to drop or lowest, you know, if you have say 10 quizzes and you just want to have 9, you would put, you know, that you're going to drop one of the highest or one of the lowest. That's what typically people do.
okay. So
But
you
if you
could
do
choose
distribute-
this and
yeah,
drop, or if you're not interested in dropping anything, then you would choose the second one because it'll just distribute the points.
right.
Okay, so in that first example, if we had assignments and that, I think assignments were worth 50% or something like that. No, they were 30%, and then the 2 assignments in there were worth 50% a piece. Right, okay.
Yep.
I had a little brain fog right there. Okay, so distribution, middle, or if you want to drop things, the second choice would be your best option. You can certainly display these different options, you know, class averages, display grade distribution, you know, some of the class statistics. So those are up to you. The tutorial that I watched, the presenter chose all of these items to show, but again, that's really up to you and what you want to show to your students. We're going to set up a couple more categories because we want to get to make it equal 100. So I would just click on Save and New because we're going to set up another category. And let's say this one is quizzes. Okay, and I can describe it here, but for the weight, I'm going to make sure, and that one's 30% as well. I'll distribute the weight, or let's try dropping one, number of highest non-bonus items to drop. Right. If I want to drop the lowest, correct? Did I do that right?
So you have to drop just the lowest.
Okay, yes. So I would drop this and then have these same options, save and new, because we want to get to 100. And then maybe we have a final assessment or a final project of some sort. Okay, we can have a description. Again, do you want users to see it? And then we would make that 40%. Okay. And then we can just distribute here. You just distribute evenly, even though it's one thing, but okay. And then we can hit save and close. So now when I look at my gradebook, well, we won't go into that yet. Okay. Yes, actually we will. Now when I look at my gradebook and I go here and I just see that spreadsheet view, I see final grades and what did I do wrong?
Well, it
Manage
looks
grade.
like that we just have to change the weight of something to make it all 100. That's all.
what we should be seeing based on what we should be seeing are the weights that are the categories that I just created.
You saved those, right? I thought you saved them.
Yeah, I said save and new,
I
right?
wonder if you had to refresh. Well, I guess you don't have to refresh the other screen. I don't know. It's odd.
All right, let me try to at least create one category. That should have worked, but let's go ahead and put in quizzes. And
See, that's the thing with Sakai. It would never let you, when you're setting up your categories, it wouldn't let you exceed 100. But on these, you've exceeded 100 because you have that paper in there and you have something else in there.
maybe that's why it did it, but I'll make this. But the paper, I didn't put in a category. That was just a item that was not.
So what you have to do is go into one of those assignments there and change the weight, like I did. Just go into like final project and change the weight. And mine's equaled up to 100 because I went in and changed the weight. So like final project, yeah, right there. Edit,
Edit, right? Mhm.
and then go down, change the weight. So either I think I changed mine's final project. I changed it to 4. I make it to 20. And then save a new. I mean save.
I'm
And
sorry,
close.
save and close, or
Yeah.
just save. Yeah.
And it should equal up to yours. And so now it's the final grade summary is 190. No, you still got to change. See,
I would change quizzes. I would change your quizzes area.
This is not equaling up to 100.
Right, it's not, because I have something else changed
Yeah,
this
so
Right there, yeah.
quizzes, yeah.
So I don't even have weight as one of my options.
Did you click on using
I would just
weight?
make that 0. There you go.
Yeah.
No, I clicked on the other one.
Yeah, that's why.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why Emily's point, you'll do points.
For final grade now, some equal 90. So something.
See that little note there on that screen? Final calculated grade sums to
Right.
100. So there is your there is the message that comes back like Sakai tells you.
Mm-hmm.
So you just got to change something now. 10 more points.
Quizzes 10. Give quizzes
Yeah,
10.
get quizzes 10.
We'll just.
It might have 10.
Equals 100. I don't
There you
have
go.
that.
All right, there
Right?
you go. Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
I just noticed when you were doing that, Kate, that there you can, when you click on the properties, you go back to like editing the category. There is a restrictions tab if you only wanted certain things to be available at certain times. And I wonder if that has to do with grading availability, like just showing them quiz grades at a certain time or something.
Yes, and I didn't even look at that, Emily, in terms of setting up categories, because, and you bring up a good point. I don't have, I would think that would be the use, because that's the use in every place else. And that might be good for the final, like a final project in setting up.
I was thinking of the conversation Cindy was having earlier with me about grades. That might be helpful to, throw in a restriction for, I don't want final grades to be released until such and such a date, but
Yep.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. So here's my question. The trainer has a question, right? Within this view, we should be seeing, and for some reason we're not, but we should be seeing our categories that we just created. And so, for example, when I created them in my sandbox and I go to the grades tool and I just look at the grade book, I have the category of quizzes. I have the category of assignments. This was my practice, and that's, I'm not sure what, unless there's a visibility issue.
We're setting up a grade book, but we haven't really set up the assignment yet. I wonder if is that linked to the assignment?
Well, that's what I was going to show you. And this is the workflow that Cindy and I sort of differ on. we have a friendly debate on this workflow. So that's what I was going to show you next. So those categories, I'm going to show you where to go for a tutorial video that will help you fill in the gaps that I'm creating right now, because those categories, they should work, and they certainly worked here. I'm clearly missing some type of display that you need to see. But by setting up the categories ahead of time, one workflow you might consider is you set up your major categories and you weight them the way you want. And then you go into assignments, and I think one of a good workflow that I like to build in modules, but with assignments and discussion boards, I like to just build in all of my assignments through the assignment tool first. And then I can connect it to a category in my gradebook. And so when I create this assignment, and there are pros and cons to this that we found out yesterday in our training, but let's say I want to build a quick assignment, I would go to new assignment. And I might name it, paper number 23. And I can add the points here. Let's say, we're mid-semester and I can see how they're doing, and maybe they're not very strong writers, or it's a practice, and maybe getting to know the students. I want to make this 40 points. Okay. Now in grades, I can connect this to the gradebook here, and I can choose from grades, and I can connect it to a category in assignments. So this is where I connect it to the gradebook. And, or if you want to set up your entire gradebook first and include, if I give 5 assignments every semester, I'm going to plug those in, and here are the grade values. Then you can create this assignment here and say, assign it to a category and link it to an existing grade item. Okay. So we created categories in the gradebook. We haven't created items yet, but I'll show you how to do that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And Cindy.
No, I like this. This is how I would do it.
Is this how you would do it? Okay. All right. Because we had
the problem yesterday, I would definitely go this route.
Because can you describe the problem yesterday? Because the thought was to build everything in the gradebook first, your categories, and plug in your assignments. But what did we find out, Cindy?
Yeah, that's not a good idea, for the reason that there's no link back and forth where it's checking. So if you put this in the gradebook, say you set it up initially first, this assignment, I don't want to say it. Well, okay, you set this assignment up in the gradebook first as an item, and you gave it 20 points. So over here in the actual assignment, when you set it up, you give it 40 points. Well, guess what? That gradebook set at 20 points, and it's not going to change, because that's what you set it up at. So everything would be totally out of sync, and you would have a disaster on your hands. So to avoid that, if you set up the categories in your gradebook, just like we just did, and then build your assignments, your quizzes, your discussion forms from here and put your points, it will then feed into the gradebook. And then that's an automatic, you got the same numbers both places.
Yeah.
So you basically create your assignment and then link it to some category to the gradebook.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the best. That's personally the best way I saw to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, because here, you're more into the semester, you may adjust points or may not remember or you may have to go look, but there's more room for error when setting something up in August and then you're creating an assignment or, later on. So I like to have all the control here and then just connect it to a category, choose from grades, choose the category, whatever that is, and then click OK for that. And then just a quick note on the assignments. You can provide directions here with text. You can record about 60 seconds of audio to help support that text directions. You can also record a video to attach to your directions for this assignment. You can add attachments from your computer, add links if they have to read something. And then the due date is a date that it's due, but they can still turn it in late. And that's where the availability dates and conditions come in. This, with a due date, they can still turn it in. With an end date, they can see it, but they cannot access it. So these are sort of the ones set in stone. This is the, if they turn it in past the due date, they can, you know, it'll just say late. You'll know that they turned it in late. And then there are different release conditions and items that you can include here that you can explore on your own as you set up assignments. Okay. And then you would hit save and close. And so then when we go back and look in the grade book, I think I named it paper number 23. It's connected to, oops, sorry. There we go. Let me go into grades. And somewhere in here, it should be connected to assignments. I need more real estate. I have too many assignments. Should delete it. There we go. Paper number 23 worth 40 points. Okay. So, you know, in what Cindy was talking about, if you would like to, you know, create an item from the gradebook here, you certainly can do that. And you would just go to manage grades to do that. And again, this is where using manage grades, you can set up items. You can also set up, this is where you set up categories as well. But you would simply go to new and you would choose new item, for example. And then you would use numeric and click on that probably, but there's some options here in terms of if you use pass fail. There are just different options for you to look at that I'm not prepared to explain today. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. Can't get my categories right, but you do new item, name it. You can connect it to a category here as well. Number of points, can they, you know, exclude it from the final grade calculation, bonus, etc. You can certainly add a rubric here if you want, and then save and close with that. A last note on categories. One thing that you can do, perhaps you could set up your typical categories for assignments, quizzes, tests, projects, whatever that is. But you can also have a category for formative assessments. And maybe you just want to have grade items, assign different activities or tasks to a formative assessment category, but you don't want that to be included in the final grade. You can set that category up, formative assessments, and just put a 0 beside the weight, and then it's not calculated into the final grade. And so you might want to, you know, it looks like the students are getting grades for it. It can be in the grade book, but because it's just practice, it's not going to affect that final grade on there. So what questions do you have? So there's a question in the chat. Do you have to categorize an extra credit activity? I think that there was, you can create an, that's a good question.
There's somewhere that I saw, there's a little box where you say this is extra credit, or I thought.
Yeah, I think when you hit new item.
That's an assignment maybe, is it?
And you can offer bonus points on an item. So you can make it bonus. In terms of category, Rich, does it sound familiar?
Yeah, I think there is a way to do it. The way you just mentioned though about the categories, like having 0 weight, that's one way to do it, and just not included in the calculations. I know there's a better way to do it than there was in Sakai. I just right offhand, that's not coming to mind. So I'll have to kind
Yeah,
of check.
and I'm sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot. I just,
It's okay.
Yeah, it's my question. It's Lisa.
Yeah.
I did, if they did an advanced directive, they got 10 extra points. And in Sakai, I had a student tell me, well, it's not weighted, it's not in a category. So did I really get those points? So I think you have to put it into a category.
Yeah, and that makes sense, Lisa. I mean, and then which category ahead of time do you want it to be? I mean, do you want it to be in a weighted category that's 40, 50, or 60%, or is it in the participation, or is it?
When you do create a new item,
Uh-huh.
go ahead and click there, and just click numeric. And then in the settings there, if you scroll down, it does give an option for bonus.
Yeah.
So that might be the option there.
But it's going to have to be connected to some category, because that's the way I do my grading. I weight things.
Right.
Okay.
So I guess, yeah, there's just some thinking in terms of which category, you know, how much bonus you want that to be ultimately.
Yep.
Right.
So I have a question. I've set my class up for attendance and participation. So there's basically, let's just say there's going to be 10 days of attendance. So I made attendance and participation a category. If I then wanted to grade those over 10 days, how do I enter that in? Do I go to the grade book? And then that's going to be a category for each student. I need to be able to put my days in, like my numbers of times I'm going to be loading that in. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think, Emily, in that case, you would create 10 items.
So do you create the items underneath? So I'd be creating items, not creating a category.
Well, if it's, so you want to have, do you weight? Is that
So
just
I
the
can
only
have-
category?
So attendance and participation is 2 points. So if you're in class, you get a point for being there. If you don't participate, you get a 0 for that. And that's just one day though. So I want students to be able to see as we go along, oh, wait, why do I only have 5 points under attendance and we've already had 7 class days? Oh, well, you've missed class twice. So I don't know whether to put that as a category or whether to just put it as an individual item, because then I'm going to have a slew of items.
Well, in order to, yes, I mean, what you could handle that, I think, in a couple of different ways. You know, you could use points with it, and then instead of having a slew of items, maybe instead of using the weighted percentages, you could use points. So maybe it's total of
20 points.
yeah, and then you can just put it in maybe just once a week, or you know.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking of doing. And okay, I'll meet with you offline to look at mine specifically, to not take
Yeah,
more time.
let me process that a little bit more.
Yeah, and I'll show you what
and I'll think,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. The last thing that I want to show you, and it is 3:01, so if you have to jump off the call, please do. Want to be respectful of your time. So not offended, just do what you have to do at summer. Have fun. Thank you for being here. It's just so you know, when you're on the homepage of Shepherd University, we have this cool thing called Quick Eval. So I'm not in any course. It just, you get to it by clicking on the Shepherd logo, and you can go to Quick Eval, and that's the Quick Eval tool. And what this does, as soon as students turn something in from all of your classes across your all your courses, anything that needs grading will appear in this window, and you can click on it and you can grade it pretty quickly. So just FYI, you don't have to go into any specific class for that.
How do you get to that, Kate?
So that's in, earlier I was in my class and I knew that because my class name was here, just by clicking on the Shepherd University logo,
Gotcha.
that brings you back to our homepage. And Quick Eval is right here. Okay, and you'll have some notifications up here that show, you know, a number that will appear here, and that's just as students turn things in. That's a part of that number. Okay. So I will stop sharing and just thank you everybody so much for your time. Next week I will be out of town, so I won't have a Thursday's workshop, but Rich will have his workshop on Wednesdays. And he's going to show you how to archive and how to import your content into Brightspace if you want to do it yourself. So I want to thank Rich for his time today. And I want to thank everybody here for your participation and your help. And I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Hello.
Thanks, Rich.
Oh, sure. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Good. I'm okay. I had a meeting after the workshop yesterday with 2 professors. They were a little concerned about how things are going and everything. But I was Jackie Cole and then Sonal Murphy.
Oh yeah.
Like they've jumped in pretty well, but they're just concerned about, I mean, they had a couple of things they were, you know, a couple questions they had specifically, but they were concerned about, I guess, some of their faculty who aren't so eager to learn, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, it is what it is. I don't know.
Yeah. And okay, so Seidel, I'm meeting with her tomorrow, and Seidel is so so detail oriented and
Yes.
spreadsheets and math, and it's totally out of my comfort zone.
She loves spreadsheets.
And
yes.
she teaches physics, which is way out of my comfort zone. But do you have any idea? She probably brought it up with you, and I got her to, you know, try out the help thing on Brightspace. But did she talk to you about downloading her Excel spreadsheet?
Yeah, it's on my list. I haven't got to do
Oh,
anything.
no. I just didn't know. I don't know what to tell her other than don't do that.
Well, no, the way she imports her grades that way.
I know she does. I
She
know.
uses a spreadsheet and she puts them in. I mean,
Yeah,
like
I know.
you said,
I know. I don't.
We can't tell her not to do it.
Oh, I know that. I know.
Yeah.
I was just kidding. And
No, I know, but it's like,
yeah, I was trying to understand. I said, Seidel, tell me why you want. I said, what if? I said, I know I want you to do however you want to do it, and you should do it that way. I'm just trying to find out if there are those things that you can do in Brightspace that would satisfy.
you're trying to be so diplomatic. I can tell.
Very diplomatic.
Don't do it that way anymore. Throw that away. Do it like
Don't
this.
do that.
No, I get it. It's but that's the thing with all this is everyone has a different mind and they think differently.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to, you know, sometimes convert all that.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out like if Brightspace could meet her needs for her, you know, so that she didn't feel like she had to do that. But I think she likes to. I was trying to understand it. That's all.
I think she definitely can do it in Brightspace, but I think she prefers to do it in Excel. I think that's her comfort zone, and then she just
yeah, I get that.
puts it in. I mean, we have some advantages and idea that, you know, like we're saying in the meeting, we don't put our grades from directly. Brightspace doesn't send them to Banner. You know, we don't have to worry about that. So they don't technically have to. You know, they could do it on their own. I think in some ways that's an advantage. But I do know that Brightspace has that capability. But that's a function behind the scenes that IT would have to fix, and then we would have to change a lot of things.
Right.
And that's not really we don't want to do that right now. So
Right.
but no, it should be some way that the spreadsheet's set up so she can